Sorry.
Coming through.
Sorry. It's the game of sorry.
Welcome back to the Puncher's Point. Now, we've been wanting to talk about this. However, with all of the Anthony Joshua aftermath, with all the, Alicia Baumgardner, Delphine Persoon, obviously, Daniel Dubois versus Anthony Joshua over there, we kind of fell behind, but nonetheless, we're going to talk about it. If you thought that we were not going to talk about Jesse Bam Rodríguez and Jaron Boots Ennis being on the same card, y'all are sadly mistaken. Jaron Boots Ennis will be facing Karen Chukhadzhian on November 9th at the Wells Fargo Arena. Not only will that be going on, but the co-main event, number 7 pound for pound, Jesse Bam Rodríguez will be taking on Pedro Guevara for his WBC Junior Bantamweight Championship. As y'all know, Jaron Boots Ennis, IBF champion at 147 pounds, and he already beat Karen Chukhadzhian. He beat him, he outboxed him. He won that fight, a very good unanimous decision for him. However, Chukhadzhian had his moments in that fight, but regardless. Then, on the co-main event, Jesse Bam Rodríguez is back in action after his brutal knockout against Juan Estrada. I mean, if we're talking about knockout of the year, that's up there, man. And I mean, the picture, whoever took that picture, shout out to you, because that is forever going to be one of the coldest pictures I've ever seen of Estrada on the ground, grimacing in pain, while Bam Rodríguez is just smiling. That is going to be one of the coldest pictures probably in boxing history right there. So whoever took that picture, shout out to you. He will be facing Pedro Guevara, who is the WBC Interim Junior Bantamweight Champion. Now, I have mixed reactions about this event coming up. First of all, why is Jesse Rodríguez on a co-main event? As the number 7 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, I just want to touch up on that. Don't get me wrong, I ain't upset with it. Whenever you get the chance to see Jesse Bam Rodríguez and Jaron Boots Ennis on the same card, you know it's about to produce fireworks. Don't get me wrong, I like it. But he's ranked number 7 in the world. Why is he a co-main? I don't understand that. Jesse Rodríguez, I believe, should have his own card. But I'm not upset that he's on this card. As far as Jaron Boots Ennis, a guy who's not in the top 10 pound for pound, don't get me wrong, I like Jaron Boots Ennis. I rarely mess with him. I like the way he fights. But I'm just saying, these should have been 2 separate cards, and it's happening in Philadelphia. Obviously, Boots being a Philadelphia native, his last fight was in Philadelphia, did good attendance, so he's hoping that he could do the same amount of numbers, if not better, at the Wells Fargo Center, which I don't mind. However, I just feel like both of these guys, being at the caliber at which they are, I feel like that they should be on their own separate cards. Now, overall, as far as the fights, I'm going to touch up on that a little bit later on, but let me pass it on to Breezy. Breezy, first, your thoughts on Jaron Boots Ennis versus Karen Chukhadzhian, and your thoughts on Jesse Bam Rodríguez fighting Pedro Guevara.
I'm not really much a fan of rematches like that happening because it's kind of like, what does that do for Boots? I'm at the point in my life where I want to see fights that's going to help build and define Boots. I'm sick of seeing Boots in the same position. Either these fighters don't want to fight him or he can't get a top level contender. And Karen Chukhadzhian is not going to do anything for him, whether he stops him this time or anything. Now, yes, Chukhadzhian had his moments in the first fight. That's cool. That's handy dandy and whatnot. But I don't. If Jaron Boots Ennis goes in there and stops him again, they're gonna be like, well, he beat him the first time, and then that he wants Terrence Crawford. He does not get nowhere near close to a damn Terrence Crawford fighting Karen Chukhadzhian a second time. So. And look, I get it. It's last minute. So Boots has to take it. Boots has to do it. And not only that, too, but maybe a part of Boots, he wants to avenge that in a certain kind of way because maybe Boots feel like that he could have had a better performance and whatnot. So to that degree, yes. But as far as the other points of looking at it, I'm like, nah, man, I want Boots with the real competition. And I know Boots is ready. And I know Boots is anxious for it. But I don't think Karen Chukhadzhian is going to bring that to him. As far as Jesse Ben Rodríguez, I mean, come on. I mean, look, let's put it like this. Mario said it best. When you got a top contender like that who has knockouts like that, who's very flashy, who brings a lot of excitement to his fights and whatnot, at some point you have to make him a main event star. You have to put him at the top card. He has to have his own kind of card. And I do believe maybe that will happen down the line. I know it didn't really happen right now, but I'm a firm believer in with guys like Ben Rodríguez and whatnot, things like that are to come in the future because he's just one of those highlight fighters. It's just must see. When you see Ben Rodríguez fight coming up, you're going to tune in because it's a must see fight and you know it's going to be action packed and exciting. But as far as this card, I feel like it's kind of like a how can I put it? It's a car where it's like, we know y'all want the smoke, but this is our last minute replacement, as in sorry. I look at it as a sorry card. That's what I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it the sorry card. Sorry you couldn't get the fight you really wanted, so we brought you this. I'll call it the sorry card.
That's a great name. I completely agree with the sorry card. This is a card that they're going to, it's all in place for Jesse Ben Rodríguez and Jaron Boots Ennis to win. It's kind of like those top rank cards when Teofimo's fighting the GOAT Steve Claggett. Well, technically not like that because Steve Claggett, clearly is the GOAT and Teofimo just got lucky that one time. However, it's kind of like those cards right there. Now, as far as the matchup, I completely agree with you. He doesn't get anything from fighting Karen Chukhadzhian. And the whole narrative around Jaron Boots Ennis is he only fights C-class fighters. That's all I ever hear is Jaron Boots Ennis fighting another C-class fighter. When's he going to fight Terrence Crawford? Even take away Terrence Crawford, and you look at that welterweight division, you look at the 4 champions in that division, Brian Norman Jr., Staniones, who's another guy that he could be fighting. Mario Barrios is going to be having a title fight on that Mike Tyson, Jake Paul card. Why is it on that card? I don't know. Don't care. That's not the point. The point is Jaron Boots Ennis has a chance to become undisputed in that division. A lot of people believe that his toughest challenge is Brian Norman Jr., and I do believe we'll get that fight in the future. Excuse me. The toughest challenge is Terrence Crawford. However, in his division, it's Brian Norman Jr., and I believe we'll get that fight in the future. However, this is not going to help. I mean, nobody wants to see him fight Karen Chukhadzhian for a second time. Now, I will say Karen Chukhadzhian, there were some times where he caught Jaron Boots Ennis slipping. He didn't rock him or anything like that, but he landed some okay and decent shots on him. And a lot of people were saying he was landing his own, and if that was Terrence Crawford, it'd be a different story. Obviously, we're going to have to wait for that to happen, but I don't think a lot of people want to see this fight happen again. Now, as far as Bam Rodríguez, I mean, I'm not completely against it. Pedro Guevara, I mean, don't get me wrong, decent fighter, WBC interim champion. So obviously this was going to come eventually with Jesse Rodríguez being the actual WBC champion. But you go and look at that division, and there is a guy in that division named excuse me, let me put it right over here. I don't know why I forgot his name. He's one of the top guys in that division. Give me 1 second. There's a guy in that division named Fernando Martinez who holds the IBF and the WBA Junior Bantamweight Championship. What better fight to have than a unification bout with the IBF, WBA, and the WBC belt on the line? I honestly think him and Fernando Martinez should get it on. And then if you didn't even want to do that, you could have a unification bout with Tanaka as well. I mean, there's just better fights that you can have than Guevara, but I understand at least in Bam Rodríguez perspective, I understand why the Guevara fight is happening. It's because Guevara is the WBC interim champion, and obviously as an interim champion, you have to have that fight. Now, a little bit on Pedro Guevara. Pedro Guevara, like I said, WBC interim champion. His record, 42 wins, 4 losses. He's never been knocked out. And out of those 42 wins, 22 of them are coming of way of knockout. As of right now, he is on a 2-fight win streak. And I don't know, Breezy. I mean, it's just hard to get behind it. He beat Andrew Maloney, and we all know Andrew Maloney's kind of on like the last leg of his career. But regardless, Andrew Maloney's a good name to have on your record. But besides that, man, I mean, I understand why this fight is happening. that doesn't mean I have to like it. You know what I'm saying? And I expect, I'm not gonna lie to you, I expect Jesse Rodriguez to win, and I expect Jaron Boots Ennis to win on this night. But what I'm hoping is that this card with these two on it, it's going to kind of elevate both of them to the level that they need to be on. So Jesse Rodriguez, he is a top 10 pound for pound fighter in the world right now, not just in his division, pound for pound top 10 fighter. I mean, he's ranked number 7. Jaron Boots Ennis is on the cusp of that. So, how are you going to get them to get some top 10 notoriety and get those pay-per-view fights? You got to put it on a card where it's going to build them up. And you know what? I am happy that if they're going to be on the same card, I'm happy that it's going to be both of them together instead of the things that Top Rank be doing, which is we're going to have an all Mexican card. We're going to have an all black card. We're going to have all white card. We're going to have an all Chinese card, Japanese card. Like it seems like Top Rank just be targeting like specific demographics. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they never want to have any diversity. They never want to mix it up. I'm glad that we got a Spanish fighter in Jesse Rodriguez, and we got a black fighter in Jaron Boots Ennis on the same card. I love the diversity, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what a lot of these boxing cards need. A boxing card shouldn't be based off every once in a while. If you wanted to have like a Spanish card, like a Mexican card in Mexico, cool, do that. If you wanted to have like a Japanese card in Japan, cool, do that. But it doesn't always have to be targeting a demographic. You know what I'm saying? I believe that you should get a bunch of good, great fighters and put them all on one card and let them battle it out. That's why I think Turki Al-Sheikh is doing very well with Riyadh's season. He's not targeting just specific Spanish fighters, specific black fighters, specific white. He's not doing all that. You know what I'm saying? He's getting a bunch of different fighters who he knows has talent and are able to attract attention. He's bringing them all together. And I can't hate it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just glad that these two guys, these two very talented fighters, are both on the same card together. And I'm just glad they have a whole different diversity of fighters on the same card. And I would really like to get your opinion on that, Breezy, as well, as far as what you think about both of them being on the same card opposed to Jesse Rodriguez being on a Spanish card, or setting up a bunch of black fighters on Jaron Boots Ennis card, kind of how Top Rank would be managing and operating things.
I mean, they're both flashy. They're both exciting. So it's like it makes sense to put them on there. I mean, I never been really necessarily technically against like the culturized cards and whatnot. But I always say if you're going to do it, make sure you do it the right way. Do it, but don't make sure there's no racist undertones behind it. Make sure when you do this card is glorifying and celebrating whatever culture it is that you're trying to target, whether it's the Japanese culture, the Chinese culture, the Mexican culture, or the black culture. Make sure that if you're doing that, you're doing it the right way. But at the same time, though, I'm also not against, never was against the mixture of fighters on the cards, like, you know, I mean, look, they had Tank and Benavidez, you know what I mean, Honduras and black. So obviously I'm not against it. And I think at least with this situation, it's not only the diversity too, but like I said, it also goes back to the kind of fighters that they are. Like I said, they're both flashy, exciting, and any given moment they can have a show-stopping KO or a show-stopping performance. So I think it makes all the sense in the world to have it like that. So I think it was kind of like a situation like this was the card we never knew. This was like the fighters on the same card that we never knew that we needed.
When I found out that both of them were going to be on the same card, I was like, that's pretty interesting. And that's actually very, very intriguing to have both of those guys on the same card. Just like it was very interesting and it was very intriguing to have David Benavidez and Tank Davis on the same card. You know, we that was something I didn't think I would expect, you know what I'm saying? And it happened. So, I mean, shout out to them for making it, and shout out to DAZN. But my whole problem with Top Rank is every single time they headline like a Spanish fighter, oh, all of a sudden we got to have Emiliano Vargas on that card. We got to have Xander Zayas on that card. We have to get as many Spanish fighters as possible and put them on that card. Or if it's something like, I'm trying to think of some top ranked fighters right now. If it's like if they're headlining like a black top ranked fighter, all of a sudden we got to get Bruce Carrington and we got to get Abdullah Mason. You know what I'm saying? It's like they just keep targeting the same guys and they keep putting them. It seems like they're trying to target a demographic, which I don't mind, but I don't think they do it right. If you're gonna do that, if you're gonna have like a Spanish card, then if you're gonna have a Spanish card, you're gonna have like a card that showcase black fighters, I believe you need to do it in the right way. And I don't think Top Rank does it in the right way. It just seems like it just seems like if you know what the headline fighter is, then you know who's going to be on the undercard and on those like co-mains and stuff like that. It just seems like it's setting itself up. And that's my problem with Top Rank. I believe they focus too much on that and not focusing on the best fights possible to make on that card and how to elevate it. But overall, that's just my opinion on that. And like you said, these are two of the fighters that we would have never expected to be on the same card. And I believe that as explosive as Jesse Bam Rodríguez is, as flashy as Jaron Boots Ennis is, I'm sure it's going to make for a great event. But we'd love to hear y'all's opinions in the comments below. What do y'all think about this card? What do y'all think about the matchups in itself? You know, we really want to hear it. We really love to hear your opinions just on the whole target and the demographic, all that type of stuff. All these topics that we talked about, you know, give us your opinions on the fighters, you know, all that. Just make sure y'all be typing in your opinions, you know, typing them up in the comments. We'll definitely respond and get back to y'all. We definitely love to hear your opinions, regardless of how crazy some of y'all be sounding sometimes. Because I'm telling you, I mean, look, we already know somebody's going to talk about how his name's really not Chukhadzhian and how it's something completely different. Trust me, okay? Don't blame me. Blame Premier Boxing, okay? That's who said it that way. Blame, help me out here. Mauro Ranallo. Blame him. See, they're gonna bag me for that one. Blame him, okay? Because that's who I got it from. Shout out to him though, because he is a great announcer. So, with that being said, we're gonna be back with y'all once it gets closer to the fight with the predictions. Again, a busy November. This adds on to it, November 9th. Make sure y'all tune into that prediction episode when it comes. Make sure y'all tune into the past episodes that we had. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep on dropping bangers after bangers. We had a Jesse Rodríguez episode, and it's not on YouTube, but it's on the podcast. So make sure y'all go check it out. And with that being said, Breezy, would you like to finish it up?
Y'all know what the deal is. We active every week. You never know at this point. Might be Monday, might be Tuesday, might be Wednesday, might be Thursday, might be Friday, might be Saturday, might be Sunday, might be the whole damn week. You just don't know. But you have to be tuned in. You have to make sure that notification bell is on so you can be well aware when we post. But without further ado, tune into the X, tune into the Instagram, tune into the podcast app. And without further ado, it's been your boy Breezy and Mario. Make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point.